Welcome to Lento English. Ready to level up your English? Here we learn through stories, slow, clear, and fun. Listen, relax, and enjoy the journey.
1. Introduction. Look around you. Many things use small electronic parts called chips. Your phone, your computer, your car, and even your TV have chips inside. One company makes a lot of these chips. This company is Taiwan's Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, or TSMC. Maybe you do not know this name, but its products are everywhere. Chips are very important today. Some people say they are like oil for the world. The world needs them for many things to work. Without chips, many industries stop. Cars cannot be made. Phones do not work. This shows how much we depend on chips. TSMC is a very big and important company. It is in Taiwan, a small island. TSMC makes many of the world's most advanced chips. It makes about 92% of the best chips. Only one other company can make chips that are almost as good, but TSMC makes more. This makes Taiwan very important to the world. Because Taiwan makes so many chips, many countries watch Taiwan closely. The chip industry is important for countries like the United States and China. There are worries about what could happen if something stopped chip production in Taiwan. This makes Taiwan a place of global attention. So, how did Taiwan become so important in making chips? How did TSMC become the world leader? This book will look at the story of Taiwan's success in the chip industry. 2. Taiwan's first steps. Before Taiwan made advanced technology, its economy was mostly about farming and making simple things cheaply. But in the late 1960s and early 1970s, the government wanted to change this. They saw a need to make the economy different and start building industries that used more technology. One important step the government took was to create a special place called the Industrial Technology Research Institute, or ITRI. This happened in 1973. ITRI was a research center supported by the government. Its job was to help new industries grow in Taiwan, especially in technology fields like making semiconductors. ITRI was very important. It helped Taiwan get new technology from other countries and shared it with local companies. For example, ITRI made agreements with foreign companies. These agreements helped Taiwanese companies get the important technology they needed to make chips. The government also wanted companies from other countries to invest money in Taiwan. They built special areas called science parks. These parks gave companies a good place to work and grow together. The most famous one is Hsinchu Science Park, which started in 1980. It was built like Silicon Valley in America. It gave companies the buildings and support they needed to do well. Before these parks, some companies from America had already come to Taiwan. In the 1960s and 1970s, companies like RCA and Texas Instruments built factories there. They came because the cost of workers was low. These early factories helped Taiwan learn how to make electronic things. Also, many Taiwanese people who had worked as engineers and leaders in America came back home. They brought back important technical skills and ideas about how to run businesses. This helped Taiwan start its own high-tech companies. These first steps by the government, the research institute, the science parks, and early foreign investment helped Taiwan build a base for its future in technology. 3. A new business idea. After Taiwan started building its technology industry, an important person arrived to help. His name was Morris Chang. He had worked in the United States for a long time, for 25 years, at a big company called Texas Instruments. He had studied hard and had a high degree in engineering from a famous university. He was a very skilled and experienced person in the world of computer chips. The government in Taiwan saw his talent and asked him to come back to Taiwan. They wanted him to lead their efforts to build a strong semiconductor industry. Morris Chang had a new and clever idea for how to make and sell chips. Before this time, most companies that worked with chips did everything themselves. They designed the chips, and they also built the very complex and expensive factories to make them. This meant that only very large companies could afford to make chips. Building and running these factories cost a lot of money, billions of dollars. Morris Chang's idea was different. He wanted to start a company that would only do one thing: make chips for other companies. This new company would not design the chips itself. Instead, it would be like a special factory for hire. Companies that were good at designing chips but did not have their own factories could come to Morris Chang's company. They would give their designs, and his company would make the physical chips for them. This new way of doing business was called the pure-play foundry model. It was a new concept in the industry. This pure-play foundry model was very helpful for many companies. It allowed companies that were only good at designing chips, known as fabless companies because they had no factory, fab, to grow and create new products without needing to spend huge amounts of money building their own factories. So, in the year 1987, Morris Chang started his new company based on this idea. Its name was Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, or TSMC. The government of Taiwan helped to provide money and support to start this important new company. At the beginning, TSMC had a plan to attract many customers quickly. They decided to sell their chip manufacturing service for a very low price. Sometimes, they even sold chips for less than they cost to make. This was a strategy to get a large number of customers fast and take a big part of the market. They believed that later, as they made more chips, their costs would go down and they would start to make a profit. This plan worked very well. Many companies around the world liked this new option. They did not need to build their own expensive factories anymore. They could trust TSMC to make their designs into real chips. TSMC became popular quickly and started to grow. The new business idea from Morris Chang changed the global semiconductor world. It created a new way for companies to work. It helped the fabless design companies become successful. TSMC, using this pure-play foundry model, became a leading company. Its success showed the world the power of this new business idea and helped Taiwan become a very important player in the global chip industry. 4. Making microchips. Making microchips is a very difficult and complex job. These tiny electronic parts are essential for almost all modern technology, acting like the brains of devices such as computers, smartphones, and cars. They are primarily made from a material called silicon. The first step in making a microchip involves preparing the silicon. Large pieces of pure silicon are cut into very thin, round slices. These slices are called wafers, and they look quite shiny, like mirrors. The manufacturing process for microchips requires an extremely clean environment. Any tiny particle, even a speck of dust that you cannot easily see, can damage a wafer and ruin the chips being made on it. For this reason, the factories where chips are made are called clean rooms. Workers in these clean rooms must wear special protective clothing from head to toe. This clothing stops dust, hair, and other small things from their bodies from entering the clean area and touching the sensitive silicon wafers. Building the microchip itself involves many stages. It is done by adding many layers on top of the silicon wafer. You can think of it like building something with many thin levels piled up. For advanced microchips, there can be many layers, sometimes over 75 layers in total. On each of these layers, tiny patterns are created. These patterns are incredibly small and complex. They are like detailed maps or circuits that guide electricity. Creating these tiny patterns is a key step. It often uses special light and chemicals in a process similar to photography, but on a microscopic scale. After one layer's pattern is made, another layer of material is put on top, and the process of making patterns is repeated. This continues layer after layer until the chip structure is complete. Finally, all these different layers need to work together. This is done by connecting them with extremely tiny wires. These wires are often made of metal, like copper, and they create pathways for electrical signals to travel between the different parts of the chip on its many layers. The entire process, from starting with a silicon wafer to having a finished chip structure, takes a long time. It is not a fast process. It can take around 3 months to complete all the steps for one batch of wafers. The difficulty, the need for extreme cleanliness, the many layers, and the tiny patterns make microchip manufacturing very challenging. This is why making modern microchips is considered one of the most difficult manufacturing jobs in the world. 5. Key companies in Taiwan. Taiwan's strong position in the world of semiconductors is not just because of one very large company like TSMC. There are other important companies that play key roles. These companies work together to make Taiwan's semiconductor industry very strong and complete. They each do different but necessary jobs in the long and complex process of making chips. One very important company is United Microelectronics Corporation, known as UMC. UMC actually started before TSMC. It began in 1980. UMC was Taiwan's first company focused on making semiconductors. It grew from ITRI, the government research institute that helped start the island's technology industry. At first, UMC designed and made its own chips. But later, like TSMC, UMC started making chips for other companies too. This business model, making chips for others, is called a foundry. Today, UMC is still one of the world's largest companies that works as a foundry, making chips for many global customers. It provides important manufacturing services for the industry. Another key player in Taiwan is MediaTek. This company started later in 1997. MediaTek is different from companies like UMC and TSMC in a main way. MediaTek does not have its own large factories to make chips. Instead, It focuses only on designing the chips. Companies that only design chips are called fabless companies. MediaTek is very good at designing chips that are used in a wide range of electronic devices. These include things we use every day, like smartphones, tablets, and televisions. MediaTek is now one of the top fabless companies in the world, designing chips that power many devices globally. Then there is a company called ASC Technology. It was established in 1984. ASC Technology works on the final steps of making a semiconductor chip ready to be used. After the chip is made in factories by companies like TSMC or UMC, it needs more work. ASC Technology specializes in putting the tiny chip into a protective package. This package helps protect the chip and allows it to connect to other parts in an electronic device. ASC Technology also tests the chips very carefully to make sure they work perfectly before they are sent to customers. This important part of the work is called semiconductor packaging and testing, or sometimes back-end processing. ASC Technology is a global leader in this specific area of the industry. These companies, UMC, MediaTek, and ASC Technology, are essential partners for TSMC and for the entire semiconductor industry in Taiwan. UMC provides additional important manufacturing capacity. MediaTek creates the complex designs for many popular chips used everywhere. ASC Technology ensures the finished chips are properly packaged and tested, making them ready for use in electronics around the world. Together, these companies create a very complete and strong supply chain right there in Taiwan. This means that many different critical steps needed to make chips can happen on the island. This collective strength and the presence of these key players is a big reason why Taiwan is a global leader in semiconductors. The island's success is built on the hard work and specialized roles of many different companies, not just one large one. 6. Growing to global leader. In the late 1980s and early 1990s, people around the world started to notice Taiwan's semiconductor industry. Companies saw that Taiwan could make chips well. TSMC quickly became a favorite partner for companies that designed chips but did not have factories to make them. These companies needed a reliable place to build their designs. TSMC offered this service. TSMC decided to always invest a lot of money in new and better technology for making chips. This helped them stay ahead of other companies. They kept improving their factories and methods. There were important steps in making chips smaller and better. In 2006, TSMC started making chips using 65-nanometer technology. This was an important step. By 2011, they were making chips with 28-nanometer technology. Making chips smaller means you can put more parts on them, making them more powerful. TSMC continued to make smaller chips, reaching 7 nanometers and 5 nanometers. These are very small parts on the chip. To make these very small parts, TSMC was one of the first companies to use a special technology called extreme ultraviolet, or EUV, lithography. This technology is very difficult but helps make the most advanced chips. Because of this continuous work and investment, Taiwan became a very strong global leader in making semiconductors in the 21st century. By 2022, Taiwan made more than 60% of all chips for other companies in the world. TSMC alone made almost 54% of all chips like this. Taiwan is especially important for the most advanced chips. It makes more than 90% of the world's most advanced chips, those smaller than 10 nanometers. TSMC is the only company that can make 5 nanometer and 3 nanometer chips in large numbers. These chips are needed for the newest phones and computers. So, Taiwan, led by TSMC, became the main place in the world for making advanced chips. This made Taiwan very important in the global technology world. 7. Staying ahead of others. Taiwan's Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, TSMC, is the leading company in Taiwan's strong chip industry. It holds the top spot as the world's largest company that makes chips for other technology companies around the globe. People often wonder how TSMC manages to stay ahead of others in this very competitive market. The company follows a clear strategy to keep its leading position and stay ahead of its rivals. One of the most important reasons for TSMC's continued success is its large investment in research and development, known as R&D every year. The company spends billions of dollars on R&D. This significant investment is absolutely necessary to stay ahead in the fast-moving world of technology. It allows TSMC to continuously work on new technologies and improve the way they make chips. This focus on continuous innovation and making technology better is a core part of their business and helps them maintain their edge. TSMC is always looking to the future, often many years ahead. They are not just working on the chips needed today, but are also planning for the next generations of chip technology. For example, they are already preparing for the production of 2 nanometer chips. These chips will be among the smallest, most complex, and most powerful ever created when they are ready. TSMC aims to start making these very advanced chips by the year 2025. Making chips with such incredibly small parts is extremely difficult and requires highly specialized machines and deep technical knowledge that few companies possess. By being the first company to develop and successfully use these new, advanced manufacturing processes on a large scale, TSMC creates a very high technological barrier. This makes it very challenging and expensive for other companies that want to compete at the same high level of technology. TSMC is known throughout the industry for leading the way in using the newest and most advanced methods for producing semiconductors. This consistent leadership in adopting and perfecting new manufacturing processes is a critical part of their strategy for maintaining their dominance. Their strong commitment to innovation, supported by heavy investment in R&D, and their forward-looking planning for future technologies like 2 nanometer production, are key factors that ensure TSMC remains ahead of its competitors year after year. This strategy is how TSMC keeps its position as the global leader in making advanced semiconductors and sets the pace for the entire industry worldwide. 8. A world needs Taiwan. The world today needs Taiwan's chips very much. Many countries like the United States, countries in Europe, Japan, and China use chips made in Taiwan. These chips are in almost everything we use. They are in our phones, computers, cars, and even in machines used in hospitals. Taiwan makes a lot of the world's chips. For the most advanced chips, Taiwan makes more than 90% of them. This makes Taiwan very important for the global economy. If something happened and Taiwan could not make chips, it would be a big problem for the whole world. Imagine if the factories in Taiwan stopped working. Many industries would have big troubles. Car companies might not be able to make new cars because cars need many chips to work. Companies that make phones and computers would also stop making enough products. Even services like cloud computing, which help store data online, could slow down. Because Taiwan is so important for chips, it is also important in world politics. Different countries watch Taiwan closely. This makes the situation around Taiwan sometimes difficult. To help with this, some Taiwanese companies are starting to build factories in other countries. For example, the main chip company from Taiwan is building a factory in the United States. It is also planning a factory in Japan with another company. These new factories can help make the supply of chips safer for the world. But Taiwan is still the biggest and most important place for making chips today.